I was having trouble coming up with a topic for today. I've talked about the things that I feel somewhat knowledgeable in, like the tools I use to run our business, the ways that I share my knowledge, the ways in which I refuse to work for free. And today's gonna be a busy day. I had therapy in the morning, I have a couple of client calls this afternoon, so I was like, oh man, I have like 20 minutes, what am I gonna talk about? And then I realized, this is a pretty tightly scheduled day, so why not just take you through what I'm doing today and give you the day in the life of a small business owner. Started my day by getting up at 8, which is very nice to be able to sleep in since we recorded Join the Party last night and I didn't get home until about 11 because other folks have day jobs and also the trains are awful. So slept in a little bit, then went to therapy. One of the advantages of working from home is that I get to do appointments whenever I want. So I did therapy from 9:45 to 10:30, grabbed some groceries on the way home, and am back by 11. So I've also gotten a couple of Beehive Resumes clients this week. This is a business I started early in college when I first started interning in HR and recruiting and hiring. So a couple of people who I have to have phone calls with to figure out where they are at in their careers, what they're looking for, what kinds of jobs they want to apply to. That way I can best write their resumes to appeal to the hiring managers that they want to hire them. So that usually looks like 15 to 20 minutes of research for each client, like reading the materials they give me, looking at their LinkedIn, figuring out kind of the lay of the land for their particular industry, and then a 30 to 60 minute phone call where we talk about all the stuff above. After that, I'll spend a couple hours on each person writing their resume, sometimes from scratch, other times editing and kind of reformatting and rewriting a version that they have. Then I send it to them, they give me their feedback, and we go on until we find a version that they really like. I find it really satisfying to help people find the best way possible to express their experience and their skills. It's kind of stupid how peculiar the resume world is. You have to be a kind of stickler for rules and also express yourself in a way that's like not boastful but also not like bashful. So it's definitely a fine line, and reading thousands of resumes one summer in my recruiting job, I started to really get a sense of what works and what doesn't. So especially with creative people, people who freelance, people who have experience doing stuff like I do, making video blogs, doing podcasts, it can be pretty challenging to find the right way to put that on a resume. So I want to help people make sure that their experience is not overlooked because they happen not to know how a corporate recruiter would want to see it. And if you want my help doing that, you can. beehiveresumes.com. And then of course, multitude stuff. Our Slack is active all day long with people's various questions and articles they share and stuff that's happening. So responding to that is always just kind of thing throughout the day, fun mostly, but also requires some critical thought. I have to write the mid-roll break for Join the Party. So that is where we thank our new patrons, where we do sponsor reads for our advertisers and announce whatever new exciting stuff is happening for the podcast. And it takes about 20 minutes of research and writing. And excitingly, I have a couple of estimates to prepare for clients, so people who may be interested in working with us and want to know what exactly that would cost and what it would look like. So I kind of fill my idea of what we should do into our contract template, send it over to them so that they can review it. That includes stuff like exactly what Multitude will be doing for the client, what they need to do for us, what payment is and when it's due. So it is always a little bit of a like detailed work. I have to make sure that I am really thinking critically and thinking ahead as to what we do and don't want to promise. And then obviously what price is gonna work. So I enjoy doing that because it means potentially a new client, but it also is like requires my best brain. So I usually like to have a cup of tea and do it in my kind of like focused morning section of the day. And that probably will fill up my day. Tonight there is some NBA on. Now you're like, Amanda, what does that acronym mean? It can't possibly stand for basketball because you're not a sports person. Well, that changed when I subscribed to the podcast Horse, which is a multitude show hosted by Eric Silver, my co-host on Join the Party, and Mike Schubert of my channel fame, who has a podcast called Potterless. The two of them talk about everything that happens on and off the court in basketball. So not like wins and losses and statistics and things that I don't really care that much about, but stuff like internet drama and player dating rumors and memes and all kinds of like bizarre historical things that have actually happened in basketball. It is my favorite podcast, and I'm not on it. So that includes the podcast that I'm on. I love it so much. I look forward to it every other Monday, and it is making me want to watch basketball because I want to see the people that they talk about on Horse in action. So that is one day in my first month of self-employment. But VEDO doesn't stop for any man or weekends, so I will be seeing you tomorrow with a new video.